Lakers taking on the Jazz, this time in Utah, unlike earlier this week. They were in Los Angeles. Just an impressive start to the season for the Lake Show. 11-4. I don't think too many people would have had that score prediction or their record prediction considering all the injuries. I've been very high on this team heading into the year, but when everyone found out that LeBron was going to be missing 13 games and Reeves going to be missing a few of those, Luka, Gabe Vincent in and out of the lineup, Adu Thero, and some of the young guys not being able to go to start the year. Just very impressive that we're 15 games in the season, 11-4, really good record in the West. We're going to get into three things in this video. We're going to talk about should Rui be starting with this group now that LeBron's back. We're going to talk about LeBron in his one-game impact against the Utah Jazz, see how that's going to move going forward, the LeBron adjustment. But first, let's get into the Utah Jazz. Now, in my last video, we had a very in-depth breakdown of it. So if you want to check that out, that video is still up, and a lot of information on the Jazz. But kind of like I mentioned in my last video, the Jazz, I think we saw it in that game against the Lakers. Lakers obviously won 140-126, but they're a fun young team. And are they going to have a good record this year? No. They lost to the Lakers. They ended up getting bludgeoned by the Thunder 144-112 this week. So they're 5-10 on the year, but they have a lot of young talent. I think we saw Keontae George was fantastic in his game against the Lakers. I mean, he had 34 points on the night, 13 of 23 shooting. He was really fantastic. Svi Mikhailuk, former Laker, came out hot shooting in the first quarter. Nurkic had 10. Markkanen has been leading their team, averaging about 30 to 31 points per game. He's really taken on an elevated scoring role because not only is he a really good player, but with Walker Kessler down for the entire year, he's really kind of had to be the other veteran presence. That was supposed to be the Utah Jazz calling card, was Kessler and Markkanen having one of the best front courts in all of basketball, but not having Kessler. You don't have that. Ace Bailey, you saw the kind of talent. He went 1-6 from three, but did shoot 50% from the field, added 13 points. Off the bench is where they didn't have a ton. Isaiah Collier, former USC Trojan, had 9 points, but besides that, Harkless had 4, Sensabaugh had 3, Cody Williams 4, Kyle Anderson 5, Kevin Love 0. But they are a fun young team in the sense of if they get Kessler back and Keontae George, who has kind of been one of the breakout stars of this season, might not be getting the attention nationally that he deserves because it is the Utah Jazz. They have a 5-10 record. They're not being talked about in the discussion for the Western Conference. But if they're able to get Walker Kessler back next year, Keontae George kind of develops, and you're able to add a star, and maybe one of these guys pops, Svi Mikhailuk, Bryce Sensabaugh kind of can become nice rotational players. The Jazz are going to be an interesting team, and we've seen the Jazz do this for years. They usually have to kind of build in-house. There's not a lot of, let's just be honest, Utah isn't exactly, no disrespect to anyone from Utah, but it's not exactly Miami or Los Angeles in terms of attractive destinations to go for. But the Jazz do have a good organization there and has been able to, build a winning organization for the last decade or so, at least, when the Donovan Mitchell was there and guys like that. But we'll see the Jazz again. Lakers, they came out shooting extremely hot, and the Lakers seem to be taking them a little light. In the first quarter, they really weren't you could tell they were trying to adjusting to LeBron a little bit of who's taking the shot. Is LeBron going to be aggressive scoring? LeBron kind of laid back. Getting to my next topic, the LeBron adjustment. LeBron in the first quarter kind of laid back and was kind of adjusting to the team. Shots weren't really falling for Reeves and Luka early. Luka ended up with 37, was fantastic. But the supporting cast was just kind of sluggish early, kind of working back in the offense. And you kind of worried, something we're going to get to in a minute, about the starting group early was not playing good defense. And that was kind of a thought of the question is, should Rui be in the starting lineup with this group, considering you could go with someone who's a little bit more defensively, better defensively. But LeBron overall in the game, I thought was fantastic. He was going to kind of work his way back into the whole thing. He had 11 points, but the 12 assists was unbelievable. I mean, the one at the end of the game where he kind of ball faked and got it to LaRavia. And I got to give LeBron a lot of credit post-game, and he was kind of laughing when reporters asked him, because there was a narrative going into the game is, how's LeBron going to adjust? The Lakers are playing such good basketball right now. What's going to happen with LeBron? I think people have a misconception that LeBron was going to be frustrated that he wanted his touches and he didn't want Reeves and Luka stealing them. This is what LeBron always wanted. LeBron wanted Anthony Davis to be the number one. LeBron wanted to not have to carry the team through the first three quarters so he could really go to work in the fourth. He wanted D'Angelo Russell to step up. He wanted Austin Reeves to step up. And unfortunately, Anthony Davis and D'Angelo Russell were just too inconsistent at times. And in AD, just maybe that's due to injury or kind of up and down games. LeBron, a lot of the time, and a lot of those playoff games against Denver, what was the problem? The Lakers would keep it close, except LeBron would get gassed at the end of the game because he had to do everything. And you're playing at altitude and you're not able to kind of come out with the wins. Well, again, small sample size, and yes, it's against the Jazz. They gave up 126 points, so they have to be a lot better defensively going forward. And in this next game against Utah, because Utah took that game personally. They got beat by 14 by the Lakers, blown out by the Thunder. They're going to be looking for some get back against the Lakers. I expect this to be a tight game on Sunday, but can the Lakers lock in defensively? That's what I want to see, because the first half was pretty rough. The Lakers did at the end of the game kind of get after it. And the Jazz were shooting at a really excessive clip early on, something that is probably not reasonable to expect from them moving forward. But again, I think they're going to bring it on Sunday night, considering they just saw the Lakers. But with LeBron, I thought it was so cool. He kind of laid back, was like, I'm not going to take over scoring early. And then he's one of the highest IQ basketball players of all time. He was going to be able to work into the lineup. LeBron was laughing post-game at the narrative that he wouldn't work in with the team. This is what he wants. He wants Luka and Reeves and these guys to be the dominant forces for the first three quarters. And then in the playoffs in a game 7, if it's the final 4 minutes of the game, LeBron can become LeBron. But at age 40, he can't ask him to be LeBron the entire game through. That's just not something that he's going to be able to hold up throughout an entire season. And I know the argument, he's making a max level salary. He's expected to do that. I get it. But LeBron is 40 years old, and the Lakers have bigger goals than just getting to the playoffs. This team without LeBron could get to the playoffs from what we've seen to the first 13 games without LeBron of the season. The goal is if you're going to take yourself to the next level, LeBron has to be able to be LeBron in the biggest moments. And that's what needs to happen in the postseason. And if Luka and Reeves and these guys and Ayton can really kind of carry the team in the fourth quarter, and then you're getting contributions from Marcus Smart and Jake LaRavia and Rui Hachimura and these guys, and then LeBron gets to take over, that's a scary sight for a lot of teams in the Western Conference. On to my last topic, should Rui be starting with this group? So something that kind of didn't get talked about enough in that game, and again, it was one game, so I don't really want to overreact, because Rui could have 25 points against the Jazz on Sunday, and we're talking about how it's a seamless fit in the starting lineup. But DeAndre Ayton had 20. Doncic had 37. Reeves 26. LeBron had 11, but LeBron's LeBron had 12 assists. Rui Hachimura only took 8 shots, had 6 points. Jake LaRavia off the bench had 16. Jackson Hayes had a nice 8. Marcus Smart with 5. Took 5 shots. The question is this, though. Should Rui be starting with this group? And I'm curious to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments. Please tell me what you guys think. If not, who should be starting in this lineup? There's a thought, especially early in the game, and I thought this was kind of be the narrative talking point after the game had the Lakers lost, because at halftime it didn't look great. The Lakers, it kind of looked like a game the Lakers kind of were sleepwalking through and were maybe going to drop. But Rui, we know, is a scorer at heart. That's what you're paying him for, is that he can be a nice wing player that can really pop off and score. And the thinking of keeping Rui in the starting lineup is that you allow Ayton to play the 5, and then you have LeBron and Rui there at the 3 and the 4 for a little size, and then Reeves and Doncic are running the 1 and 2. But would Rui be better served to come off the bench, kind of be the 6th man, him and LaRavia be the scoring output from the bench, and you throw in a Jared Vanderbilt, or you're throwing a Marcus Smart, a guy who, if Rui's going to take 8 shots, Marcus Smart took 5 shots, but Marcus Smart, we know, brings it on the defensive end of the floor. Jared Vanderbilt brings it at the defensive end of the floor. And again, you can matchup play this, like against the Thunder. You might need as much scoring as possible at all times. So maybe you need Rui out there. I get where Jared Vanderbilt, the concern is you're kind of playing 5-on-4 on the other end of the floor, because he's his skill set is not offensively. But I think there's something to that with Luka and Reeves. And I got to give both those guys some credit, because they have been trying to play better defense this year. Luka definitely being in shape, not an excellent defender, but has certainly improved from what he was earlier in his career and last year. I think there's a real case for, would Rui be better served to come off the bench and be more of a scoring threat, and let Vanderbilt or Marcus Smart kind of run with the ones and not be a factor scoring, and really be able to take the other team's best defender and let LeBron and Marcus Smart, or LeBron and Jared Vanderbilt, go to work. So I think next week we're going to see. This is kind of a test of a game. Was it just one night and they're working their way back in? Or if Rui has another kind of whatever game, 6 points, 8 shots, something like that, do you see a change and let him come off the bench? I'm all for it. I actually would go with a little bit of more of a defensive presence in the starting lineup. I would go Vanderbilt or Smart. If you want to give it to Smart because he's played better this year, I'm totally with that. And let Vanderbilt and him kind of flip-flop. But I think Rui and LaRavia would be a really interesting duo off the bench. That's a scoring. That's some nice wing scoring that you could really slide in there and have some problems and get when you're giving the starter some rest, not have too much of an offensive drop-off. So, again, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Think I'm crazy? Think Rui needs to be in the starting lineup? Or do you think someone else should be Smart or Vando? Or do you think someone else on the team, LaRavia, Bronny James, make that take, should be in the starting lineup? But let us know. I appreciate you for tuning in, for listening to the preview video. Alan's going to get you guys with the post-game show, and then, of course, his morning show during the week. I will be back for a preview video of that big-time Clipper game Tuesday night. That one's going to be fun on NBC. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you for listening, and go Lakers.